Hello, welcome back to NibblenFlix, the podcast where snacks meet cinema and we chew everything from buttery popcorn to box office buzz. I'm your host, Jeff Reed. Don't forget to hit the like button, help us get more eyes on this video. And if you haven't subscribed yet, make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell so you can get notified when we upload more videos on the channel. And also, let us know in the comment section, what is your favorite snack you like to eat at the movie theaters? And in this video, we're going to be doing a deep dive with some little spoilers of Fantastic Four: The First Steps. Let's get into it. Forced to balance their roles as heroes with the strength of the family bond, the Fantastic Four must protect their 1960-inspired retrofuturistic world from the planet-devouring cosmic being Galactus. Matt Shakman is the director of this film, who also directed WandaVision and Game of Thrones episodes. Starring in this film is Pedro Pascal as Reed Richards, Mr. Fantastic, Vanessa Kirby as Sue Storm, Invisible Woman, Yvonne Boss-Backrack as Ben Grimm, The Thing, Joseph Quinn as Johnny Storm, the Human Torch, Julia Gardner as Shala Bal, Silver Surfer, and Ralph Ineson as Galactus. Fantastic Four: First Steps is the 37th installment in the MCU, and it begins Phase 6 of the MCU. This is the 5th incarnation of these characters, and after Fox failed miserably 3 times, and there was a time also where Marvel in general just stopped making Fantastic Four comic book stories because no one was really reading them or buying them. So it was just interesting to see what MCU and Marvel Studios can actually do with this product. And after they released a couple of trailers and they were kind of like mid, not really good. They were decent, not really showing a lot. Didn't show too much about the characters. Marvel pivot to another way of advertising this movie, and that was actually releasing some clips of some scenes in the movie. And I think that was actually what built up the excitement of this movie. And I think that was a great idea because it actually show who these characters are, show the bond between them. You know, they're trying to tell you this is the first family. And those trailers really didn't show that at all. However, those little clips that they showed of certain scenes show how much they were a connected unit. And I think that's what made people want to go see this movie. If you haven't watched our videos before, we actually break down the review into 3 segments, which is the good, the bad, and the final verdict. There will be spoilers in this review. So if you haven't seen the movie yet, go watch the movie, save this, come back later. If you don't care, you've been warned, there are spoilers here. But let's talk about the real question is, and that is, did the MCU, Marvel Studios, give these characters finally some justice? And also, after the successful of Thunderbolts, is MCU finally hitting that peak where they were in the past? Well, let's talk about it. The good. So I actually did like what they did at the beginning of this film, and I liked how they used the way that they showed and also use exposition to tell the story. They've actually put you right into the world right at the current moment, kind of like how Superman did, but Superman did all exposition through the crawl, where this film, which I prefer, they actually show us what's going on and using exposition by using the television show that they were going to be on. Let us know that the Fantastic Four has been around for 4 years. This is a different universe. It's Earth 828 is placed in 1960s. They tell us how they got their powers. They show us who they fought in the past. And they also let us know that at the point in time, Reed Richards and Sue Storm were trying to have a child, but they basically gave up. And they gave up like 2 years, and then out of nowhere, Sue finds out she's pregnant. So I like how they did that, how they actually mix all those, like the background and what the current events of the characters at the time into one piece. Try to let you know, hey, these characters have been around for about 4 years. They are basically the only heroes on this Earth. And this Earth is not in the MCU, and basically give us a quick background on each character, how they got their powers, where they are today. And I thought that was very good how they did that, and it was a good start of the film. So this world has like this 60 retro fit, and I think it fits perfectly well for these characters. It looks amazing. The set pieces were actually beautiful. It feels so comic booky. It's like ripped out right out of the comics. There's no connection with the MCU. I thought that was absolutely refreshing to see a movie focusing on its own story. You don't have to do like name dropping, cameos, trying to tell you what's going on and other storylines from other movies. It just can focus on itself, and that's what I like about this film a lot. It doesn't have to do a lot of work when it comes to the MCU, and just gives little nuggets for Doctor Doom, but maybe a couple of times, but that's about it. Nothing else really much when it comes to the MCU. And I just love the vibes of this movie. It just feels like the Fantastic Four. It feels like they're an actual family, and there's not a lot of action in it. And that's how Fantastic Four comics are. That's just how they are. They're more of just like piecing it together, the family, seeing what they do as a family. You got the bickering from Johnny Storm and Thing. It's just things like that, like seeing the mothery of Sue Storm and Reed Richards being like the dad who works too much and just can't attach himself to human emotions, basically. So that's what I like about this film, and I think this is the best versions that we ever got when it comes to these characters. And like I said, the set pieces are absolutely beautiful. I love how they use the retro-futuristic set pieces and stuff like that. It just feels like this is a Fantastic Four movie, and they actually drop a little Jack Kirby nugget as well too. They're finally giving him some shine, finally recognizing him, using like his I think the World 828 is basically his birthday, and I thought that was great to actually finally recognize him. Not saying that they never did, but they actually fully just come out and basically recognize him as well. And also the space scenes too, like there's how amazing those scenes look. It had this interstellar kind of feel to it, and I think that's something that you never really saw from an MCU movie, is how beautiful they can actually make these set pieces, and also like the visuals in this film too. It's probably one of the best I've seen in a while. CGI, we'll talk about that in the bad, but everything else in this film, just the look of it and the feel of it was Fantastic Four, very comic booky, and it just met my expectations when it comes to what a Fantastic Four comic book movie should be. So after you see the characters not living their daily lives, or you see Reed Richards freaking out, he's overprotecting the house to make sure that he's getting ready for the baby to get there. Even though the baby doesn't come in 9 months, he still got the whole house already protected for the baby. That's when we get introduced to the Silver Surfer, the Charlotte Bow version of it, who was played by Julia Garner. I thought she did an amazing job. So only one thing I didn't like about her, aspects of her in this movie, but we're talking about that more in the bad. But after she comes and lets them know that the planet is marked for death, and here we see the characters discussing what they should do, and Reed Richards basically say, let's go talk to Galactus. And what I like about this film a lot is what they did with Galactus. They actually fly to space, meet him, and he basically tells them straight up, and I like how they portrayed him in this movie. And he basically tells them, like, look, I'm going to eat your world. However, I will spare your world if you give me your child. And the reason why I want your child, because your baby has cosmic powers. And if you know anything about Franklin Richards in the comics, he's like probably the most powerful character in Marvel. He just can create life. Create life. He can create life, worlds, universes, all that stuff, if he really wanted to. That's how powerful this character is. So Galactus sees him as a great replacement for him, so he can stop being a world eater, and he can have someone else take over the role for him. And he basically wants Franklin, and he doesn't even care if Franklin is born or not born yet. He wants Franklin to replace him. And I thought that was really, really good, because it shows how menacing, how a big threat Galactus really is. He's a cosmic being. He's something that you just can't take lightly, like they did in previous incarnations of them, being a cloud or whatever. And I liked how they showed him actually being this menacing, being this scary, to the point where even his music, when he heard his music, it is added to the tone of this character. It gives the characters of the Fantastic Four more this emotions to deal with. Like, what are they gonna do? Like, they gotta deal with something that can end the world. With Reed Richards, where he's the smartest person in the room, he can fill out anything out when it comes to like formulas or science or anything technological. He can figure it out. But when it comes to something like emotional and trying to piece a plan or understand what all the outcomes can be, he struggles with human emotion with that. And I thought that was very well how they play that. But with Galactus, they did him justice, and I'm actually happy that we got a proper Galactus in this film. So Pedro Pascal plays Reed Richards perfectly, and I love how they made him the smartest person in the world. He can calculate any formula, figure out any kind of science, technology, and stuff like that. And like I said earlier, he just has issues dealing with human emotion, and that's Reed Richards. Like, he can break down a formula that can never been solved before and still have issues trying to figure out how to handle human emotion. And that's what I like about this one. There's no long arm toilet paper gags here. There's no jokes like that. He does say some jokes, but it's like more situational jokes, and I thought that was good too, that they didn't make him corny. Richard, he felt like the smartest person in the world. He felt like all the weight was on him, and that was basically what I like about this film a lot. He's basically, this plan is going to work or not. It's on his shoulders. He's the only person that can really solve this. He's basically trying to figure out ways, and you see him using certain plans, like basically trying to use teleportation. He uses it on an egg and trying to see if he can use it on Earth. Have a great idea that falls through, but you see how smart and fast he is. He can actually think on the go as well. It's just like the human emotional part that he has issues with, and that's where Sue comes in. We'll talk about Sue a little bit later, but what they did with him, I thought was great. Even in the action pieces, it looks more smooth when it comes to the stretchiness, and I thought that was really, really good how they made him look very good. They actually have Galactus like pulling him. If you're a kid and you got like gum or something like that, you're just pulling it, or slime, you ever play slime, you just want to see how far you can stretch it before it breaks. I thought that was kind of cool that they showed that, but they actually did the special effects for him. It looks very, very smooth, very good. It doesn't look as choppy. It's not a lot of it, because you don't want to overdo it, because it could look bad sometimes when it comes to that type of technology with someone with those powers. But they did an amazing job with Reed Richards. I thought Pedro Pascal as well. He's in everything, but I can't get mad at him. He gets hired for a reason. He's a great actor, and this playing Reed Richards, you see why. He's one of the best. Vanessa Kirby's Sue Storm is the heart of the film. She's the one that actually brings everything together. She's like that motherly figure. And she has two big moments in this film. And one was a speech, one is fighting Galactus. We'll talk about Galactus fighting Galactus a little bit later. My favorite scene in the movie is the speech where she talks about family and how important family is. And she's describing why it's so important everybody stick together. When everybody basically turned their back on the Fantastic Four for not giving up Franklin to Galactus to save the world, she was saying, hey, you understand where we're coming from. This is our child. He's part of the family now, and we look at you guys as part of the families too, and we need to work together as a team and also as a family so we can defeat this issue that we're going through right now. And I love everything that they show with her in this film. She was basically, being nice to everybody. She was the mothery to everyone, not just to the baby, but she also grounds everybody too. Johnny Storm, so she also grounds, and more importantly, Reed Richards, because he's, all formulas, all, trying to figure out, this math equation, science, tech, and all this stuff. And he doesn't really use the human element when it comes to his planning or trying to figure out a solution from a problem. And Sue's there to let him know, like, you need to put in the human element into this. Like, you need to understand, like, yes, you can do this, but there's also emotional and feelings involved with this too. And I like that about her, because she shows Reed Richards, like, hey, you need to calculate this as well as part of your equation in order to make this plan work. It's like the mother figure of the Fantastic Four, but not just the Fantastic Four. She's an inspirational piece to everybody in general, and I'm happy that they actually have that part of her now with her power set. Happy to finally show her how strong she really is. She's a very powerful individual, and she went toe to toe with Galactus and actually almost defeated him single-handedly herself. She had a little help with Human Torch and Silver Surfer at the end, but she showed how strong she is. So I'm happy they finally gave her justice. She's basically everything that I was hoping she would be, and they finally give her the opportunity to shine. And when Johnny Storm, the Human Torch, actually has an opportunity to shine in this film, and yeah, the previous indications were kind of like Jimmy Storm, but they actually did something different in this film. They actually show how smart he is. Yes, he's egotistical. Yes, sometimes he act like a meathead. Yes, he just chase skirts because that's Johnny Storm. But they give him opportunity to show how really smart he is in this film. In the beginning of the film, they say he's one astronaut because he's one of the brilliant people in the world who's capable to go to space and actually do this research with Reed Richards. So they let you know ahead of time that this guy is intelligent. He just doesn't act like it all the time. Acts like a young child sometimes, and that's his Johnny. I love the interaction he had with Ben Grimm, the Thing, and they just have that going back and forth with each other, messing with each other. But he plays an intimate role when it comes to this in this film, especially when it comes to Silver Surfer. Yes, kind of doing the chase a skirt kind of thing, but it comes into play where it actually shows Johnny Storm has some brains, and he does an amazing job in this film with Joseph Quinn. And I can't wait to see what he does, and it gives a different element of the character that we just had never seen before. We always seen him as this very, very cocky, very egotistical person who just chases girls all the time, trying to be so brash and all that stuff. We actually see him, he actually looked upon as like, hey, I can do more. I can do a lot more. Just give me a shot. Let me do it. And I like that he took it upon himself to figure out what was going on with Silver Surfer, and you see how brilliant he is, and he actually gets rewarded at that end with his acknowledgement from Sue Storm and from Reed Richards. So I'm actually happy what they did with them. I can't wait to see more what Joseph Quinn has with the Sword film, but I'm actually happy that they actually give Johnny Storm a proper story where he's just not a meathead anymore. So the bad of this film, where I can see people complaining, it really didn't bother me at all, but I can see people complaining, is that the movie starts off slow. So you don't really get into any kind of action until you get to space, and before you get there, you really just have like the introduction, the background story of Fantastic Four. That's when you get your little action set piece real quick, and then it goes into like the dynamics of the family and how they work with each other and all that stuff, and you see how the family aspect is. And once you get to space, that's when the movie actually picks up a little bit when it comes to the action and stuff like that. So I can see people kind of complaining that it starts off too slow. Like I said before, it didn't bother me. I understand how Fantastic Four really is. It's not really known to be like action piece kind of thing. It's more of like thinking and actually trying to see how nerdy you can get when it comes to science, math, and technology and all that stuff. Like the wild, crazy Jack Kirby kind of feels. That's what the Fantastic Four really is. So like I said, it's not really known for like a lot of action, so I can see some people complain about that, but it didn't really bother me because I kind of expected this anyway, and I wouldn't mind if they would have went either way anyway, but I understand the Fantastic Four, you're not going to get as many action pieces. You will get it eventually, but there's a lot of setup, and you got to see the family dynamic, and you got to see all the stuff that Reed Richards is doing, and I can see that could be boring for some people, but if you understand the characters and if you just like the whole family aspect, it can hold you up till you get to the action pieces. And the thing I did not like about this film is the time frame. Like, you really don't know how long when you get to the point where you find out Sue Storm is pregnant, so you actually see Franklin being born, and some time after that as well. You're really not sure exactly what's going on, how long the period piece is until the end of the film, where again they're back at the TV show and they give a little exposition saying, hey, there's 12 months, past 12 months or whatever. And I kind of wish they would have just let us know exactly the time frame of what's going on, so we see how long it took Reed Richards trying to prepare this plan to go up against Silver Surfer and Galactus. But they didn't do that. I don't know why they did not do that. I thought that would have been kind of helpful when it comes to actually realizing how long it took them to try to piece this plan together, because the plan they're doing is very substantial. Like, they're building all this stuff around the world when it comes to like trying to teleport the world from one spot to another part of the universe. And you need time to build that. You need resources, you need all that stuff. And it felt like they just, did it out of the blue rather than showing the time period thing. They did show like the world coming together, building the stuff up, but they didn't really say like how long and anything like that. It was just basically, beginning the film when you see Sue Storm is pregnant till Franklin gets born, and he's basically not a newborn when Galactus comes. So maybe, I don't know, maybe it was 12 months, maybe a little bit longer than that, but it would have been nice to at least have an idea exactly the time frame, how long the story was, just to get an idea like how long it took them to actually build this plan together to prepare for Galactus. So nothing I didn't like about this film. There's really no explanation whatsoever as why Silver Surfer Shia LaBeouf picked the 828 world Earth at all. Basically nothing at all. And I kind of wish we did have an inkling of why there was actually a pattern where Reed Richards says, hey, it seems like there's a pattern why she's picking these worlds. But we don't really get into that much at all. And I kind of wish we did, because I would like to know, like, does she know about Franklin once Sue got pregnant? Like, there has to be a reason why she picked this world. Is it similar to her world where she's spared, and that's why she's doing this for Galactus? Is she picking worlds kind of like that? I just don't know, and I kind of wish they would have gone into it a little bit more. And you find out in the film that she's the one that actually picking it. It's not Galactus at all. And Galactus is the only reason why he's eating these worlds because he needs to eat. He doesn't even go into the selection process of picking worlds. He just eats it. So it would have been nice to see exactly why she picked this, and it would have been nice to know if she had an inkling at all about Franklin. Maybe they didn't really know about Franklin until the Fantastic Four got there, and that's when Galactus scanned the entire team and kind of noticed there was a baby inside, and kind of mentioned, hey, your baby is not normal. It's not a special body kid. And I felt like I said before, if they would have explained a little bit more why she picked this world, it would have made it more touching for that character to understand. Like I said, even if it was like similarities to her world, who she spared, then I'd be like, okay, I understand why she picked this world, but still kind of not. I don't know, because you figure she'll pick worlds that suck, right? Worlds that just needs to be ended. And why should we pick a world similar to hers? But like I said, it's all about explanation. Just tell me why she's picking these worlds, why she picked this world. So Edom Moss-Backrat's character, Ben Grimm, the Thing, we just didn't get a lot of him. I kind of wish we got more of him, and basically dive into it more of what he's going through. We understand that he doesn't like how he looks, and he's going through some things. He wants to date, he wants to do all this stuff, but he can't do what he wants to do because he doesn't look like he did from the past, and now he looks like this big rock thing. And they don't really go into what he really is as a character. You do see the dynamics he has with Johnny Storm. The special effects on his face was fantastic. I love the expressions. They actually do a great job with it as well. And I kind of wish that we got more of him. Hopefully we do. But it seemed like we didn't get a lot of Ben Grimm in this film. And he's one of my favorite characters within the Fantastic Four. And hopefully later on they actually give him his time to shine. He does have a little moments here and there, but it's not really too much. And like I said, when you got 4 characters, sometimes one has to be the one that has to sacrifice to not get it much time. And this time it's actually Ben Grimm. And maybe next time in the sequel, we'll get more Ben Grimm, the Thing, because I think he's a fantastic character. And finally, the last thing I'm going to nitpick about is something that just Marvel doesn't have enough time with, and I don't know why. And that's the CGI. Not special effects, CGI. The special effects in this film are absolutely amazing. Like I said, and everything they show with space, Galactus, Silver Surfer looks absolutely amazing. Just flawless, like chef kiss. The CGI sometimes, the background in certain scenes, baby Franklin, it just didn't, it took me out a little bit the first time I watched the film. The second time I was like, okay, it is what it is. It's Marvel. So sometimes the CGI is not good. That's just what it is. But it's difficult to have 2 characters that is basically using like CGI or special effects at the same time. You got the Thing, Ben Grimm holding the baby, and I knew having CGI on top of CGI, it's not gonna look good. And that's basically what happens here. And it does make sense. I think it's a poor choice to do it, to have Ben Grimm holding the baby all the time. But when you look at the characters of Fantastic Four, who's gonna hold Franklin the most other than Sue? It's gonna be Ben. I mean, Reed is too busy working. He's gonna be daddy sometimes, but he's trying to build stuff and all that stuff. Like, Ben's gonna be that dude. He's gonna be like, Uncle Ben. He's always there to help him out. So like, I get it, why they did it, but it just looks off-putting sometimes, and I just don't understand how they could do flawless work when it comes to like some of the space scenes in this movie, and when it comes to the action pieces, when it comes to Galactus and Silver Surfer and also the Thing, and Johnny Storm looked great when he flames on. Sue Storm's powers look amazing, and super shockingly, Reed Richards' powers look great too. It's just that just certain aspects that just like, they try their best and it just looks off-putting, but that's all I'm gonna say. I just wish Marvel just was flawless when it comes to like special effects and CGI throughout the whole film. I know sometimes it doesn't work that way, and they have a time limit that they have to get these movies out because it's on the schedule. But man, some of these shots were just like, man, they could have worked on a little bit more. But if that wasn't, if they try to meet that deadline, that's what happens. The final verdict. So I had the score of this film 5 out of 5 snacks. And that's because even though it's not the best MCU movie, it just feels like that phase 2, phase 3 vibes, like that type of peak of MCU level movie. That's when MCU was on a roll, and you knew going into the movie theater, you're at least getting a good film. It could be good, it could be very good, it could be absolutely amazing and great. And it just feels awesome to see the MCU finally hitting their stride again after, 2 movies in a row now. We won't count Captain America. That was kind of a different situation when it comes to Kevin Feige having control. The last 2 movies that came out, Kevin Feige has had control of what the production was, everything when it comes to that. Unlike Captain America, where he's trying to fix up everything from the previous regime that was running Disney at the time. We're seeing now the products that's been under Kevin Feige and has been held with care, and those movies are really, really good, and that's been the last 2. Even with Daredevil. So we're finally seeing that those peak levels of MCU that we've seen in the past in phase 2 and phase 3, and that's awesome. The action of the movie was really good, but what really makes this movie great is the family dynamics of the characters and how they care for one another and how they care for everyone in general, particularly. And I thought that was what made the movie really good. You saw these 4 characters working together. They all have different aspects of point of view when it comes to things, and they actually work together and make that into a consistent, concise unit. And I love that, and how they're going through and how to try to figure out a problem that's going to end this world, and actually figure out a way to do it by defeating Galactus, and also making Silver Surfer realize her true purpose is basically stopping this. And even though you spared your own world, you're basically going to do what you need to do the right thing at the right time. And I actually like about that. The story fits, the world fits these characters that we've never seen before, and I'm actually happy that they did a great job with like ripping them out of the comic books and putting them on the screen. And it looks absolutely beautiful and amazing. I love the score for everybody in every situation. Love the costumes. Just love the world they actually built in this. And even though we have some issues with the CGI, Ben not getting a lot of time, no explanation why Silver Surfer picked this world, and also basically the movie starts slow, and I can see people complaining about that, and that's not really a problem for me, but for others I can. This movie fits and does everything it needs to do. It just feels good to actually be in an MCU movie again and actually have a good time. And this movie also has an end credit scene, which I thought was absolutely interesting, and I can't wait to see what they do with this. So basically they got Dr. Doom. I'm assuming he kidnaps Franklin because of his powers, and it actually makes a lot of sense why he won't want Franklin, because like I said, his power set can help him achieve what he's trying to do when it comes to trying to do whatever Dr. Doom's trying to do, and we find that out in Doomsday. At first I wasn't really thrilled about Robert Downey Jr. coming back playing Dr. Doom, only because I was hoping that they'll grab somebody else, and that they were trying to do what they did in the comics, where it was basically like a flip when it comes to Iron Man and Dr. Doom. Really wasn't. I like that storyline, but I really didn't want to see that in MCU. I really want to see a proper Doctor Doom, where we see Victor Von Doom come into his own, basically, I guess, his own ways of becoming Doctor Doom and being that master villain, where we see him at the beginning and become Ultimate Doom. But maybe we're not doing that. Maybe we're just going to start with Ultimate Doom. Hopefully that's what Downey Jr. is actually playing, is Ultimate Doom, Doctor Doom. And that's a different level of Doctor Doom. That's at his peak. The highest where he's at. Maybe that's what we're getting. And if we're getting that, I understand why he wants Franklin, and I cannot wait now to see Doomsday and the Secret War, to see what they do with the storyline. And at first I was like kind of hesitant. Now they got my attention, because the last 2 movies are very good and actually set up Doomsday to be very, very interesting. So I just can't wait. But more importantly, what did you guys think about this film? Did you watch the film? What do you think about it? Let me know in the comment sections below. If you haven't seen it, are you going to see it? And if so, let me know when, and what's your expectations of this film. And don't forget to let me know what is your favorite snack at the movie theaters. And don't forget to like and hit the subscribe button, and also get the notification bell so you see more content on this page. And thank you for watching this video. I hope you had a good time watching this video. Let me know in the comment section what you thought about this film. And I'll see you next video. I will be seeing Naked Gun and Bad Guys 2 maybe early. So I will put out of the theater reaction for those films. And I can't wait to see you next video. So take care and goodbye.